Hey guys, Anthony, 4 Diesel. Just wanted to show you this awesome rear antenna slash light slash whatever you want mount bracket from Kaon. We've had one on the vehicle for probably quite a few months now. A lot of people have asked, oh, you know, how does that go on, and they're trying to see. So we thought we'll just do a installation video. So quick few little tips. As usual, there's always going to be maximum information in these videos, not just a slap bang job with a bit of editing and you sort of scratching your head wondering what's going on. So full detail. First thing you need to do is obviously remove the spare wheel cover. Now, I'll quickly say a little bit about those. Most people agree that look, if you're just around town, if you're going to school and back and whatever, and you don't tour in the vehicle, you may want to keep your spare wheel cover on. But if you're actually using the vehicle and traveling with it, if you actually need the spare, that's where you're going to find out. They can be a bit difficult to get off and on. If you've got a full vehicle, it's very large. It's not something you want to have to put in the car or put back on with a flat tire, and then you've got to get to the next spot and get it repaired on, off, on. It's just a pain, okay? Also, if you get rid of that, you probably should have a spare wheel type cover bag. The bag's really handy for rubbish if you're doing outback trips until you get to your next stop, where you can offload that into a bin. Or dirty snatch traps, even if it's day trips, that sort of thing. But this is not about storage bags. So in my opinion, get rid of the cover. That's what we've done, and we're going to have a bag over the tyre which protects it. I wouldn't be too worried about the sun and the protection. All the tyres are out in the sun more or less just as much. You can turn it if you like. It's going to get rotated. They're all going to have their turn up there, and they're all rubbish in about 5 years anyway. So certainly don't be worried about sun on the tyre. There's ways to avoid that. So basically what you need to do once you've got your cover off and your tyre off, because I sort of temporarily, permanently removed the cover, there's also a plastic backing plate which you can leave on there, but it looks pretty ugly. So you can get rid of that by removing, there's 1, 2, you probably can't see the bottom, but there's 4 bolts, basically maybe a clip or something from memory, whatever, but you get that backing plate off. Ditch that. I've just put it all aside in a safe place just in case one day if I sell the car and I need to basically, somebody wants it, whatever, we can refit it all. Other than this one here where I've taken there's like a green clip you can see over the other side where the bolt is, and that's where we've run our coax through for the antenna. We'll get to that. Probably maybe not in this video though. This is just about fitting that rear mount bracket, and as you can see, 2.5 minutes already. So there's a spacer plate like this. Another advantage of this bracket, because it's 4mm thick, it goes in between the body and the spare. So if you put a slightly bigger tyre that's a little bit wider, this gives you a little bit more room to the body of the car, so the tyre's not rubbing on the body of the car. And when you put your bag over the tyre, gives you a little bit more room to fit in there. So it's really good having that 4mm. You don't want much more than that. You don't want those big, thick, in my opinion, you don't want those big, thick Kamo ones, because the further you bring the tyre out from the car, it's actually kind of like increasing the leverage, if you know what I mean. And it is a fact that inside behind these doors, by adding too much weight to them and stuff like that, you can damage the mounting hardware and stuff in behind there, right? So if you get a rattly, knocky noise, that could be what it is. That's a separate issue. Spacer plate goes at the bottom. So basically take the 2 nuts off the top. So we got your wheel off, that's easy, right? You can figure that out. The 2 nuts off the bottom, the 2 bolts, we just loosen it. So it's just sitting there because there is a wiring plug there for the reverse camera. So that's just kind of sitting there nicely. You can take off the bolts one at a time at the bottom and swing that into position, or have the nuts on there, do the bottom first, whichever way you want it. It makes sense to do the bottom first, yeah? So leave the nuts just sitting there, you know, loosely. You can take the bottom bolts out, put the spacer plate in. We've already got one in there for the purpose of the video. Now we're going to put the double header, we'll call it the antenna mount bracket, on the vehicle. Just really careful, bring it into place without hitting the paintwork. It goes on as simple as that. Just hold it there carefully, put your spare wheel cover back over the top, get the original nuts, put those back in place. Just going to let that go for a minute. I think it'll be alright, it's not going to rub on anything. And just for the purpose of the video, to get it done a bit quicker, got the impact driver here. We're not going to go really tight yet. We're just nip it up to give you an example, right? Right. So bada bing, as we say. Bada bing, that's as simple as it is. That's what it looks like. Okay, so at one end, I'm not sure if this is going to work actually, because I already put the coax in there. But that's alright. So your antenna goes in, obviously going to nip that up nicely. No need to over tighten it. we've used this nice little light Oricom. It's a very lightweight antenna. That's what you want for this bracket. It's quite solid 4mm, but it's not really designed for heavy duty brackets, lightweight only. So that's basically it, guys. You know, you just want to nip these up just nicely. Don't over tighten them and break things, you know. Just sort of like how they were before is the best example. And you can put antennas there, you can put lights there. As I said, it's a double header. You can see there's over the other side as well. So you might have a light at one side and an antenna at the other, and you choose which side. You can certainly run your wires in through those holes from that where the grommets were for the bolt, if you know what I mean. And that you can get your rear trim off, okay? If you've got your Kaon table in there, obviously you'll need to take that off to do this, and then, which is pretty easy. What is it? Eight screws or something, takes a few minutes. The trim comes off fairly easy. I'm pretty sure we've got videos on that if you look back through our other videos. Kaon may even have links. Hopefully they use our videos on their website to help you guys out. And the wire you can just run through here. You can feed it through that boot there that the other factory wiring goes through. Pop the trim off just a little bit on the inside of the car here. Again, I'm sure I definitely did a video on it, and my rule was about a year ago, just put all the videos on YouTube. That way, if we can always find them because they're all there instead of being in this group on that page, and they all go on YouTube, and then we'll share them to those pages, you know, for whatever's relevant. So we're going to go ahead and nip this up and those nuts and bolts and put the spare wheel back on and find something to put on that mount over there, because we're not running a rear light yet, but I'm sure there's another solution. Let's have a look, see what we can find. One other little tip I did want to say, I just zipped those up obviously for speed. I did not put any pressure on those. Beware of these, okay? They're not your normal wheel studs. They should be about the same and just as strong and all that, and I'm not 100% sure if it's the same torque spec as your wheel studs, but I've seen people using breaker bars on these and ping, they bust off, okay? So the stud will snap off, and then you've got to take the whole bracket off, cut the welds, take this bolt, and probably just get a bolt. I think they're 12 by 1.25 or something like that, right? Because they're it's just what the standard. So I recommend looking up the correct torque spec, or if you've got enough experience and you know, I'm not going to use something really long. It's not a matter of safety like it is with the wheels and tyres at 113 Newton meters. This will be around about 80 or 100 anyway, but I just want to say, just use yourself. This is a 1/2 inch ratchet. We only use 1/2 inch tools on larger suspension components and wheels and stuff like that, but that's the way to do it. And last but not least, whatever you do or don't put this on. You can put that safety on if you like, so it doesn't get stolen. But if your car's in a pretty safe place and you've got the bag over it, you may want to not have that there. They still work when they get full of dust and whatever, but my concerns are when they get really old that one gets stuck on there. Haven't had that yet though, so I'll be actually in the comments. Hit us up in the comments if you've got one of these locks on there and you've had any trouble with it, okay? All right, guys, I think that's almost about it. All right, guys, so there it is, bada bing. And we have the bottle opener installed on there, the Kaon bottle opener that you can get, and you can fit it under your antenna, or if you've got a reverse light fitted on the other side, whatever you want. Anyway, you know what we say, bada bing, bada boom, job done. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe, turn the bell on, and give us a thumbs up if you got something out of that. We'll be looking in the comments for ideas for our next videos.